Dino Fury. Uh,
Yay!
Guys, this was an interesting season, and this gave us the idea to go through and masochistically review every season of Power Rangers and by the era retrospect, except for Mighty Morphin, that is going to be its own episode. Like, there's too much of that to cover, and then do the rest of the Zordon era. But let's talk about this craziness that's happening right now. I'm trying to not swear in the first 30 seconds because YouTube is crazy. Um, I think this is the season of representation. I think that's
Oh
a great
yeah,
way to
for
put it.
certain.
Um, and I know that's a touchy subject in the Power Ranger community. Just have dove down the lovely Reddit before we filmed this, and I don't understand how in 20 I I guess I do, because humans can be so backwards in their views sometimes, but it's so controversial that we've heard both the words girlfriend and a lesbian relationship in the same season, and that baffles me. But at the same time, I totally get it that human nature is stupid sometimes and doesn't want to progress with the rest of the world. Um, so where do we want to start here? Because this was an insane season with some of the strongest, not only representation, but the wonderful reintroduction of a classic villain. We have little Easter eggs from everything from the comics down to previous seasons. So I think I'll let you guys kind of start where you want to start here.
I guess what I wanna, I guess what I wanna first talk about is just how we've had quite possibly. This is kind of hard to say because you got anyone who saw like the last Dino season. Ironically, we got Sledge, who was a very good villain. But honestly, I'm gonna have to say, like, I think Void Knight might be like the strongest villain that we've had in like uh, God knows how long.
Yeah, I think Void Knight was definitely one of those more interesting characters. I do like his like pseudo redemption arc to, being corrupted to back to being the unsung hero at the end here, because it's a classic trope, but I still fucking love it. And now that we're
Yeah,
3 minutes into the video, I think I'm safe to swear. But then again,
yeah, I think you are safe to swear. Um, but yeah, I've just got to say, my thoughts on him. Like when he first showed up and it had like the gruff voice, I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is going to be like the standard gravelly, gravelly gruff villain voice, one-dimensional character. But then, as it's revealed later on, like, oh no, he's not actually that. He's actually morphed. And that was like a genuine surprise that I did not see coming. Like, oh my god, this guy is actually morphed. He's actually got someone underneath all that armor. And then as the series goes on, when we finally get introduced to his comatose wife and finally get it. And what I love most about it is like he's not like, because you get a lot of the fillers like, I want to take over the world, I want to destroy the Rangers. He's not really doing that. In fact, really, the Rangers are pretty super superferential to him. It's like if they would just get out of his way, let him get what he needs, he'd be like, okay, great, I've got what I need, skedaddle out of here.
yeah, the issue there though, I think, would lie in the fact that we saw the Void Queen. She still held that grudge until near the end. So if the Rangers hadn't intervened as many times as they did, we would have still seen the outcome that we did, all the way up to his, sacrifice. I don't think we would have seen the redemption arc either, of Void Knight either. Sorry, there's a lot of ums here, but I don't think we would have seen that redemption arc, which I think was arguably one of the stronger points of the season for me anyway. I do, however, think that we would have seen a more villainous group of spore eggs, which would have been potentially more fun, from a classic, monster of the week style storyline. But I think Ranger fans are kind of tired of that. I've got to get Hades, so I'll give the floor to you guys for a moment.
All right, and yeah, I can kind of see where Vex was coming from there. It's just I'm trying to word it. Yeah, I've got the word. I've not got the words for it, but yeah, I can see where FX is coming from there. But also what I love as well is that when we eventually do get the big reveal, it's a genuine surprise as well of like, oh my god, this actually does make sense of why they were doing what they were doing. When you find out um, who 49 really is, where he originally came from, and how Sato and Amelia as Rangers themselves. And if you really go back and look at it, like Amelia, I think it was pretty obvious that it was going to be revealed pretty early on that yeah, they're probably related because they had, I think, most of the interactions between each other down to like how many times they actually fought one on one with each other, and and as well when you finally do get that big redemption moment, it's one of the more strongly bittersweet moments of the entire series. So I don't know what how you would feel on it, Songetsu.
Uh, not too strongly about it. I just talk like about one of my favorite moments that I didn't see coming. Especially when they had the monster that granted the wishes, and a little detail of like Pink Ranger like wondering why her wish was never granted because she had the entire time.
Yeah, she had the entire time been seeing her parents, and she didn't even know it. That when you got the reveal, it's like, oh, that's why she didn't get that wish because it had already come true already for her.
Yeah, that was a super interesting twist to her story too. I think I think the other like big point for me is at the beginning I was very anti Javi, and then
Yeah,
seeing how he came into his own, like we we saw like three redemption arcs here. The stupid warden, there Izzy and Javi's dad, Javi himself, and then Void Knight. Really,
yeah. I think that's one of the big themes of Dino Fury. Like, if I was gonna like to quote Linkara to sum up the season in a single word, it would be redemption.
yeah. And I don't really dive too deeply into Linkara's videos. You do, Luke, and maybe you Zangetsu.
Not really.
Yeah,
Oh, so I'm the only one.
yeah. So really, like I watched the one you sent me a few months back, Luke, and that's basically like was my introduction to Linkara. But so forgive us if we retread a few of those steps, but there's one other like little nod that's been digging at the back of my fucking head this entire season. And I think Hasbro has this masterful love for the lore when they're not
For
making
sure.
terrible figurines. Uh, looking at you specifically right now, Lightning Collection, Cammy, and Ken. Those were the worst designs I've ever seen for a character. Please tell me those were prototypes. Anyway, uh, they have been subtly nodding to bits and pieces of fucking Shattered Grid since Beast Morphers. And it irks me so deeply that it's right there. You can do it. You have access to most of the cast. Don't think they're going to be working with Jason anymore. You know, Austin St. John had the whole like retail COVID scam thingy going on.
Yeah.
And obviously Trini's no longer amongst us.
Yeah. Although there is some rumors that they are going to be like one of the new characters coming into. I think it's Cosmic Fury or something to do with the 30th anniversary. There's been rumors that there's a character going to be introduced that's going to be Trini's daughter.
Yeah, but to work on Shattered Grid, they would have to have the original cast or somebody portraying her to adapt it one for one. We know that they can take source material and adapt it how they will. That's kind of their whole shtick. But it just, in the back of my mind, I'm like, we also know that Jason David Frank is thankfully, stepped away from the role of Tommy. Doesn't mean he's not going to play a Diet Ranger in a fucking fan film.
But wait a minute, couldn't they just get younger actors to represent like each ranger?
That's what I'm thinking they're going to do.
Because that would make more sense than just I love them to death, but that would make
50.
more sense. I did not try pun unintended. Sorry about that.
They're hitting 50, so like they need to bring somebody younger into it because we had an entire era in the 90s of having 30 and 40-year-olds play teenagers. It didn't work then, and it's certainly not going to work with people that are pushing their AARP membership, okay? I'm sorry, I love them all. I've met most of the original cast at this point, but they don't need to be doing their own stunts and all that. So I think they'll go the younger actor route to kind of reprise that. But we also have seen how poorly treated that's been with the 2017 movie. Then again, that movie was a thing that existed. I enjoyed it, others did not. But I really do want to see that story adapted, and they've just been pushing it bits and pieces of the lore that were woven in there. And being the only one that's read the whole comics up to like the current issue 100, I think I'm the only one that's been like, it's right fucking there. Give me, but yeah, that's my big thing. And Beast Morphers did a little bit too. And then we saw like the Soul of the Dragon comic come out, which was kind of like its own telling of the Master Morpher. So like they kind of play hand in hand, which is a unique thing that we have going on. But that 30th anniversary project really intrigues me, since it's not Cosmic Fury, but it's something else entirely. That really intrigues me because a few cons ago, when Zach was at our con, he mentioned like he really was interested in adapting parts of the comics as well. But I honestly, like, when they premiered it, I thought like, well, he's going to be one of the mentors for like the Morphin Masters or something along the lines that are there inside Cosmic Fury, like when they pop onto a planet, like, hey, this is what I was doing to the peace conference. Zordon sent me here or some shit, That's kind of what I thought we were going to get. The same with Billy being on Aquitar, like you were saying, Luke. Like maybe he'll help in some regard there. But then they said those were completely separate projects. But yeah, the the big thing to me though, like, is how we've woven lore so deeply. Like we had Lord Zed's scepter in Beast Morphers, and now we have Lord Zed coming back. It potentially is the big villain for Cosmic Fury after being imprisoned on a planet in crystal instead of the green Morphin Master here.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna bring back any villain for the 30th anniversary, like you've got to bring out a big gun, and can't get any bigger than Zed. Well, I guess Dark Spectre.
Yeah, the Dark Spectre, definitely bigger, badder, meaner. But I think Lord Zed's on a fucking tear right now. Like, he wants revenge for everything that doesn't seem to really make any sense, but it's Power Rangers, so we roll with it.
Yeah,
He was purified by the Z Wave. Like,
yeah, he was. But that would be quite interesting to see. Lord Zed's the human Lord Zed meet this like revived Lord Zed.
Even being even cooler and yet sad at the same time, Lord Zed versus Mystic Mother.
no, come on now.
You gotta do that.
The Battle of Lovers. Yeah, oh, God.
But then we've just done that with like Void Knight and Void Queen.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's true, but Jesus. After everything Zed and Rita have been through, I don't want to see them battle. Like, they have earned their fucking peace. Like, that's the thing that I'm kind of torn on. Like, Lord Zed is hands down one of my favorite villains in Power Rangers. Like, but at the same time, he's earned his time to be human and love and peace and have a family and do all the things he wanted to do, even while he was being a gigantic piece of shit. You know?
I would say I would blame Power Ranger for this because he turned his son evil.
Oh yeah, but we don't talk about that.
Oh God.
And that's going to be a nightmare to get through when we reach that season.
God.
Yeah.
There are so many nightmare episodes that I just have like a therapy line on one side of my monitor and I have a bottle of rum on the other.
Good, you're gonna need that for the Christmas episode.
Oh my word! Yes, we're doing the Christmas episode.
Fuck.
Yeah. But yeah. What else was I gonna say? Yeah. Also, I've got to say as well. Like it was nice. It was nice that we. One of the things that I really did like about if we're still on the talking about the villain group before we get into other aspects of Dino Fury is how they recycled a lot of the villains, and it was just not monster of the week, monster of the week, monster of the week. We actually got to see some who actually got some decent amount of screen time and kept popping back because of the fact that the spores could regenerate.
Oh yeah. I think my favorite by the end of this was Mucus.
I know you had a love-hate relationship with her. Like I could tell.
And I hate saying that because yes, I very much did. But like out of every one of the villains, Mucus did not stop making me cringe or laugh. And that is something I absolutely love in like the quote unquote monster of the week aspect of Power Rangers is does the stupid monster make me bust out laughing or does it make me cringe? And depending on where it falls on that line is how I rank it. And Mucus by the end of it, I swear to God, I had busted out more times laughing at Mucus than I had half of the more recent seasons that I watched Villains. And I'm like, okay, you're cringy, but I kind of fucking love you.
Yeah.
And then there was Boom Tower, which I wanted to punch in the face.
Yeah, just the boot, just wanted to do explosions all the time, and then
you're Michael Bay as a monster.
Yeah, and then you have Wreckmate, who's just like a pirate.
Yeah.
Oh, Wreckmate.
Yeah, but no, my favorite by far of any of the like Fortnite as the main villain, like he was awesome. But my favorite character, I think you guys already know this, in all of Dino Fury was Sliver, the magician illusionist villain.
Dodge, sidekick.
I adore him just for that because of the fact again, like because there was not a lot of villains here who were like standard gravelly villain voice villains, they all had their different voices and their own different quirks, so you could latch on to. I think that's what I love most about them. Like, they all have their different personalities, so you can latch onto them. And Sliver was a showbiz guy till the end. Like, he was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna do my own sound effects," which any kid who's ever played Power Rangers, Vex, I'm sure you've done it as well. You've done like the punch, kick, swipe, dash. So yeah, he was basically just a child reliving Power Rangers to the nth degree, and of course, Noble Sacrifice, which was just Human Shield with the henchmen.
And can we talk about the henchmen for a second?
Yes.
I have never seen, aside from the putties, the fucking grunts be used as cannon fodder more than the henchmen. Like, these dudes literally got rode as skateboards in the final battle.
Yes. Yes, and I love it. And can we just talk? If we're going to talk about the henchmen,
not even
we have
just that though. Like, the fact that they're technically being used against their friends because they were taken from the base.
Yeah.
Like, they not only got mind controlled into obeying the Sporigs, or technically Void Knight, and then they got abused by their masters. Think about a darker fate in Power Rangers than that.
The Wasp with a heart in space.
True. Or like all of RPM.
I also feel weird because they're supposed to be like some form of like golems, but they have like their own.
They have their own personality. Yeah.
Because they were going around taking selfies and shit.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, like the Japan episode where they're just taking selfies. Why? Because it's fun to do.
Why? Because I know I'm going to be decomposed and then reanimated in like 2 episodes. Because I'm sure I'm a suit actor that gets reused constantly. Oh man. But like that's the thing that I loved about them. Like, they had their own personalities where like usually all of the henchmen, the goons type people are just like, I punch, I kick, I get beat, I die. That's usually their fate. And they're summoning armies, if you're fucking any of the like later seasons here. But here we had everybody have their own unique personality, from the grunt all the way up to the Rangers to the villains, to everybody just seemed to be a natural character. And that's something you do not see in Power Rangers, which is why I very much respect this season. And like I know the comics technically reinvigorated my love for the Power Rangers, but if I would have just seen this season alone instead of like bits and pieces of Beast Morphers while I was reading the comics, because I'm like, what's this thing? Or bits and pieces of Dino Charge, because I'm like, who's this? Like, this would have done the same thing, which I never thought would have happened. Like, I very much fell out of Power Rangers around Lightspeed Rescue, and then I got back into it again, and then watched Megaforce, which was a mistake.
Yeah, I get that is. Well, I think we'll need giant bottles of. Well, you would probably need giant bottles of vodka on standby. I'd probably need a giant waterfall of soda on standby if we're gonna get through Megaforce.
That's why I have the therapy line on the side.
No.
I know how much I hated that fucking season.
I think everybody universally hates that season. I think even I don't know if he's done it, but I think the showrunner at the moment, Simon Bennett, I think even he has retweeted some hatred for that season. So I think I've seen it. Like, even he's been like, yeah, it wasn't very good.
I'm hoping like in retrospect it's not as bad. You know.
Yeah, I feel like if it's more binged, it might be a lot better. But then you get lines like "A ranger never lets go of his weapons," which, by the way, I've got to say this: Troy, if he had just watched what the Rangers doing this season, he would have a fit.
Oh yeah. I,
It-
I've
It's
never understood some of those lines.
it's just with that season, like they never like took full advantage of like their power gimmick. Like, well, sure they used it, but they never used it to like a potential in which like it felt like with writing they could have interacted with like some like ranger guests. You don't really need like many. You could have had it at least once
Mm-hmm.
during like not even like the team up episodes, or rather just a one off episode,
Yeah, it
like
was.
a sort of mentorship or something, or explain like the powers, like, oh, this came from this galaxy, and would you like to know more about them?
It was. Which one was it? In Space or Lost Galaxy? That Adam kind of suited back up
In space.
in space. Yeah, like they could have done an episode like that, and just showed, like, okay, this is the key for my powers. This was my battles. This was my ranger journey, and it would have been so much more cohesive.
Well, they kind of sort of did that with Jungle Fury, but at the same time, it wasn't really. It wasn't really talking about it. It was more a case of like, okay, I'm just gonna train you a bit to unlock your inner animal.
Right. Like, there's so many other ways they could have done that, but it just is one of those universally panned seasons because of how it handled things. And I think that's why this season kind of was a redemption for me, at least. And that's why I'm glad you kind of are, you know, dragging this journey here, because we desperately needed to revisit some form of content. Like, I've joked about in the past, like going back and revisiting topics, but this is a lot more fun, and it's going to be a lot more painful, which also makes it fun.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like one of the joys that a lot of people don't seem to realize is like, oh, why do you torment yourself over this if you know it's bad? Because it's fun to poke fun at it.
Hey, and that's the mindset of most
Imagine
people.
not enjoying like bad movie night.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah. Imagine not be looking forward to poking fun at Love on a Leash for the 50 billionth time.
God, I've
Yeah,
So
so
much
much.
Sage Green.
I so much sage green, and I'll be back in a second, guys.
Okay, but I think the next like big thing from Dino Fury that we need to discuss is this night shtick we had going on here. I feel like it's the one thing that didn't get super explored, and that's kind of where I find a little bit of flaw, because we had a little bit of it at the end, right, with the Rathconians coming in and kind of like wanting to more or less take over the Earth, potentially.
I'll the term they use, which is colonize, which is
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
very accurate.
yeah. They wanted to Christopher Columbus our entire planet. Few days late on that joke as of recording, but I had to put shoehorn
Oh,
that.
we forgot to mention Happy Mattress Day,
What?
because there's big mattress sales on Columbus Day.
Oh, right.
That's why I always say when it's like Columbus.
That's when Mattress Firm launders all the money that they have accumulated, because you cannot convince me that many fucking people need to buy a new mattress every year. Um,
Yeah.
I firmly believe in the conspiracy that store is a fucking like mafia front or some
It's
shit.
like refrigerators, okay. It's like sometimes they break down. It could happen, but mattresses, people like go. They'll wait until their own back is broken before their mattress.
That was the first thing I bought. Was I spent like $3 grand on a mattress. I'm like, I spend most of my time here. I'm buying a good mattress,
Makes sense. You'll spend like 1/3 of your life on it.
and I have not replaced that mattress since I bought it. Like, and you're technically, allegedly supposed to replace it every 3 years. I'm going on like 6 months.
No,
No.
I would not say every 3 years unless you're loaded.
Yeah, I would say probably every 10 years.
Right.
That would make more sense. Every 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, if Tekken 101 can be on the same mattress since he was a little kid, why can't anybody else?
Oh, I was doing that game until like the whole framing was starting to fall apart, and I'm like, okay, it's time to buy it. I'm sorry. I've moved you so many times. You've been abused. Here is a lighter and a field. Okay. Statute of limitation for that's up. I'm good. uh, admitting crimes on your podcast.
Wait, that's a crime?
I think it's technically a crime because I'm just burning in an abandoned field.
Oh, an abandoned field.
Oh, in an abandoned
That's right.
field.
Usually
That's
do it in my
fine.
own
That's
yard.
fine. We're talking about Power Rangers, so it's it's part of the abandoned warehouse district.
Yeah, it's either that or you're getting sent to the quarry.
Two favorite locations for Power Rangers are a fucking quarry.
Which
City.
we only got like one episode in a quarry in Dino Fury.
I know, it's weird. It's usually the star player.
Yeah, it really is. I guess New Zealand had closed off the fucking quarries during filming of this because most of it was filmed during the COVID times.
That and most of the quarry footage is from Japan, so that also adds up.
Yeah, that would. Because I've never watched the source material for this one, so I don't know how much of the footage they had cut. Was there that?
They actually used a lot more like original like footage.
That would make sense then, yeah.
Yeah, especially I have got to talk about. I really want to talk about like possibly like I said. My favorite ending was like the ending to episode 3, where you just have that panning shot out into the cosmos. But I think my favorite scene in the whole of Dino Fury has got to be when they go to Rathcon on the hill and Sato is giving them like the history lesson. That like a lot of people people were posting that scene on Twitter, just going like how fire this is, and like, is this really Power Rangers? It looks too good to be Power Rangers.
Oh, very much so. Just a quick aside: R.I.P. Cartoon Network Studios. Apparently.
Wait, what?
Yep, it's being merged with Warner Brothers Animation. Apparently.
I'm shocked that didn't happen sooner.
Jesus fuck. That is a hella annoying. I'm also shocked it didn't happen sooner. The way they've been restructuring that company for the last like 3-4 years since the mergers have been taking place, but that's massive for animation. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, like there. I guess we can talk more about that in the other modcast. Again, fuck Davis Assault. But yeah, like that. This season looked unusually pretty in general. I, you're not wrong, Luke.
Yeah.
I do think the big moment for me, aside from that Rathcon moment, like that was a great moment. I think the other moment for me was, as strange as it is, when we saw the Buzz Blast building for the first time. And
Yeah,
I'm so used to the old school where it's shot on film and then upscaled. But you seeing the first like major set piece in full 4K, and you're just like, wow, this, it's so clean and refreshed, and it very much flowed like a natural office building would. It wasn't like cookie cutter set piece together to make it look like sort of an office building, sort of not. But it very much felt that like, I, I'm going to get A in the comments. It felt like a Silicon Valley tech business, and that makes sense for what it's trying to emulate so well. They put so much attention to detail into every single setting in this season that it just blew me away.
yeah, and also like just the visual. I I got to like cliche choice because it's like the main one we see, but like Dino Henge itself of just like how it's supposed to be like its own version of Stonehenge, but like you have the actual dinosaurs like just around in a circle like that. Just seeing that every episode just put a smile on my face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
and what I've got to give this season credit for is that this is something that a lot of seasons I feel fail to do sometimes. With one of the only exceptions being SPD and possibly Beast Morphers. But yeah, you only really see like it says like, oh, this is set in I'll just you like Angel Grove, but you hardly see any of Angel Grove. Angel Grove. I don't know if that. I don't know if I'm exaggerating there, but really the only places you really saw from Angel Grove were like the juice bar and the high school. Whereas like with Dino Fury, it's like, okay, this is Pine Ridge, and you actually see like, okay, this is Buzz Blast, this is another section of the city, this is Dino Henge, this is the quarry, this is the training fields. You see a lot of different areas that make it feel like, okay, this is an actual city that they're actually living in.
I guess with certain seasons it would make sense because like these are teenagers and they usually or young adults, it depends on what season, whatever. But it's just like they're just showing spots usually where they would just hang up, like, hang out at, and then it's like, oh, here comes a monster.
Time to suit up and go kick monster ass.
It's like other seasons I can see is like more hyper focused, like on the action itself rather than like littler details. But littler details also help, make the world feel like it's actually being lived in. So get that too.
Oh yeah, I think it's a little column A, a little column B here. Like we definitely saw a lot more of a live universe, a live city here. But you're right, Zangetsu. Like we normally like, especially in the '90s, like when Mighty Morphin was coming out, for example, like we lived in an era where like the malls were the hangout spot. The We would go to the YMCA, which you had the little dojo there where they all trained. You would go to places like the juice bar or to the mall court to hang out. So things like that would make sense, and then you would get Zordon coming in like, "Hey, monster over here! Go destroy it before it destroys the city." And you would just see like random buildings in the background, like industrial complexes and shit. Whereas now, you know, mall culture is not really a thing. So we're kind of going out and doing more things and experiencing life while we slowly kill the planet, Which is why I find it super ironic, we're seeing like the park warden and being involved in drilling into a quarry here too.
We gotta find oil.
Yeah, yeah. gotta find oil here, but my job is technically preserving the city, but gotta fund my next big expansion here.
He's got to get the budget for like his kid's college fund. He's got to get
Oh
it
yeah, he
somewhere.
does.
He's gonna
But
sell that oil over to like Saudi or Russia or something, or maybe just pump it into America here for once. Keep our gas prices low for those that drive.
yeah, but I think it balances out by having the character of Pop Pop, Amelia's grandfather, who's a genuinely lovely guy.
Who's just trying to settle down, have some grandkid kids. Like this. It was the date episode was so fucking sweet. Okay, like.
Yeah, it's never too old. Yeah, again, great lesson. Never too old to get started.
Right, like I expected to cringe so much of that episode, and I'm just over here because the watching process for this was like from the time I started moving till the time I finished moving, and still like was watching the last two episodes of this in the passenger seat of a car with my last batch of mail from my old place. Just to put in perspective how chaotic prepping for this was. But I was expecting to cringe while I'm sitting in a U-Haul. And I'm not. I'm genuinely over here like, this is a great, charming episode. And I thought so deeply, like, I'm gonna hate this one. I'm gonna hate. There was not a single episode I objectively hated of this season.
No, and that is what's the most surprising thing for me, because as much as I love SPD, there are some episodes that I'm just like, yeah, I could do without seeing this episode again. But with Dino Fury, I generally would put on any episode and enjoy it.
Yeah, and there are handfuls, like half seasons of Mighty Morphin that I'm not a fan of. And
yeah.
I would say that with the earlier half of Turbo.
Oh dear God!
Before the cast switch over.
Yeah, but yeah, like and again, there's just some moments in this season as well that I generally believe, like the writers were just like, yeah, we want to do this because we want to do this. Like we've got to talk about this. The one point that I think I'm talking about, that I think you guys know what I'm talking about, the Nerf gun battle.
That had to be the most fun to film.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just like, and I guess we can segue talking about Jane and J-Borg in this. Just how much of probably one of the best comic duels we've had in Power Rangers. Of just how much they took that seriously. Like when that woman got taken on, she was just like, "No, I can't believe you got taken out first again."
All I have to say is the ice cream scene, and that's really gotten me motivated to buy a cyborg or android. Sorry. No comment.
I got you. There's a specific model of cyborg for that. For what you want that for. I got you. You and I had the same thought process when we saw it.
But
I see why that's a market now.
Yeah, but yeah, they were just such a great duo. I don't know if you guys have any strong opinions about them, but I loved them. I loved every scene they had together.
I hated Jane Borg. Mostly because I very much am not a fan of like the cyborg duo thing that has been done to death in both anime and live action. But they pulled it off well here by the end, and I grew to like her as a character. And the Nerf battle and the sloppy ice cream, those were two key reasons.
Yeah, I have to say they're the better duo, like past let's say Ninja Storm. I know that's a specific like season to pick from, but I don't think there was like a duo like like after that was like as good.
Oh no, I don't think there was, and that's there are three things you can expect in Power Rangers. There's going to be a buddy duo. You know, you got that. You got Jane Borg and Jane here. You have the cast of Rangers, and you're going to have one very very stupid episode
Yeah.
every season. One very stupid episode, and I think that's kind of the formula because you have to have that one stupid episode right before the season swap. And we had sort of that here.
Yeah, with the I think you're thinking of the date episode.
That was kind of like the stupid one here.
Yeah, because just to say, because it was the episode where they all swap personalities as well.
Exactly, and that was the thing where I'm like, okay, I wasn't really a fan of the swapping personalities trope that they're pulling here, but everything else was like really good. It was a really well written episode, even for filling that role of being the one bad.
Yeah, and I've just got to say it because I've got to get it off my chest now because it's my favorite line in the entire series because it's just so funny. And Mosasaurus pigeon, it just cracks me up, that line.
I think my favorite line was when Izzy was the red Zord mini Zord thing.
And oh yeah, and I sent you that manga series.
I forgot that manga existed until you told me about that. It's also not a good manga. It's really not. I gave it a try. I'm like, oh, okay, this is just fucking stupid. But yeah, like just hearing the word girlfriend here was so refreshing, and seeing that relationship play out as a natural relationship was such a key to me.
That is again one of the things that Jeremy surprised me because what was it? Fern, yeah, that was it. I thought she was just gonna be just like, oh, she's a one-off character, not gonna see her again, but they actually got a decent story arc out of it, like going from rival to girlfriend, and then finding some balance of like, okay, yeah, you can't come with me to college because I can tell that you're a ranger even though you're not saying that I'm a ranger.
Yeah, that was a moment that I really loved, was seeing that turmoil in the relationship, because every relationship has a bit of turmoil like that. And I love seeing how they played it out here, because you're technically not supposed to tell somebody that you're a ranger, but we saw Amelia reveal herself. So don't know why Izzy was so afraid to. Maybe
I think. What were you going to say?
The setting.
Yeah.
Too many witnesses, maybe.
Yeah, and I feel like it might be a case of like they don't want to jeopardize the loved ones' lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now Pop could be a target, you know, for future.
He might be under the protection of the Ravconians now.
That's true.
Yeah, which, by the way, I've got to say, when I first saw the episode, the episode where he took that episode where he defended, what was the name? Like the Ravconian leader, and he got attacked. Like I generally let out, like I was generally saying, no, Pop cannot die. He cannot die. He's too precious.
Right? Like I don't know. Like Pop is up there in years. Like I don't think I would have been mad if he was the noble sacrifice of the season, but at the same time, yeah, he was too pure for that.
I wouldn't have been mad. I would have been upset, but I wouldn't have been mad.
Oh yeah. The other big one for me, I don't know if you guys agree, line wise, was I only have 5 points of articulation.
Yes. I generally want that to be like just Hasbro, just take that from the episode, make it an actual not doll action figure.
Well, I want his Lightning Collection figure to only have 5 points of articulation.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah.
Just paint
And-
over the joints like you've been doing, and we'll be.
Yeah, and to have a speaker in
Oh!
it that talks, so it has that line in
Oh.
particular.
I've just actually thought about another theme of this season, like aside from the redemption, complex relationships as well.
Oh, very much so.
Because this season is just built on relationships. Like you have obviously Harvey and Izzy being brother and sister, the relationship with their father, Sato and his relationship with Ion and Solon, and Amelia's relationship with Void Knight, Void Queen, and Pop. Just so many good relationships in this season.
Dino Mommy needs to come back, okay? I want Dino Mommy to be the mentor again.
Solon, I've got to say, like since we're still talking about like supporting cast, like Solon is again like with Void Knight. Solon is probably just one of my favorite mentors ever in Power Rangers. Like top 3 easily.
And the thing is, like, Solon did everything in her power to bring Zeta back to life for literally millennia. And we see that mother's love throughout this series for the entire team.
I would have said she's more like. Well, I can't really say it because she would get offended by that. She would get offended by this, but I'm sorry, Solon. She has more of a grandmotherly charm to her rather than a motherly charm.
You know, you're not wrong. I just didn't want to say it because I didn't want to upset Dino Mommy.
Yeah, I would say that because she's just that one character that is never judgmental. Like she never judges anyone. Like you can always go to her and just be like, "I've got this problem. What do I do?"
Well, sweetie, you see, we just gotta keep locking the sporks away, and then we'll work on that as we continue the battle here. But here's your one of your famous recipes from back home. Oh no, that's dog.
That's dog food. Yeah, but yeah, just Solon and just her voice as well was just so pleasant to listen to as well.
It really was like that. That's so. It's such a unique character because I didn't expect after my last mentor being Gosei. I really didn't expect much. You know, just here is the fucking Pandora's box of everything. But Solon just did such a great job filling that role. It reminded me like what that good mentor character was. And I think the only other supporting cast member that actually really captured me was when they brought Lord Zed in and the fucking scissor dude. I forget his name.
Scissorite.
Scissorite. I don't know what it was, but I love that design. It's just so edgy, but at the same time fits so well to a Zed crew. Because when
Yeah.
you look back at Zed's minions, they all had a little bit of edge as he would create his monsters. They were definitely like more on the edgy side than Rita's, where you have fucking Pudgy Pig and King Sphinx and all that shit.
Yeah, and ironically now that you've said that, on the wiki for Dino Fury, they've actually put it under Lord Zed's new forces.
God. So they are preparing for more Lord Zed here. They are.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Like, my main concern is like, because they're saying like, okay, definitely 10 episodes, just 10 episodes, but is it really going to be 10 episodes? Like, there's people are still like in denial about that.
Oh yeah. I had mixed feelings about what we're doing with Cosmic Fury. because I am, at least to a degree, I like seeing the source material adapted in full. I do lean more on that branch, right? At the same time, I understand Simon's struggle here to have 12 Rangers on screen at the same time in a 10 episode Netflix series. I, however, don't see the issue when we have 10 episodes and 6 established Rangers, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I guess it's just me like what just wanting more because I do like this team.
Right. So I do want more from this team. But we could introduce a ranger from a planet that we visit to defeat a monster on while we're chasing down Lord Zed you know, every episode, right? We could do that. And then still have 4 episodes to kind of be the final battle. But we wouldn't get a lot of character development here in that if we're doing like a half hour episode, 22-minute, whatever, because we're not going to need ad breaks because it's Netflix. But we're doing like an hour episode. We could still potentially get some character development for that. So I'm torn in the middle there. And but we're still going to see the Zord battles. We're still going to see the Christmas tree Zord, as Zangetsu put it. um, so we're still going to see some of it, but I still wish we would have seen more. And
Yeah.
that's my only hang up here. Like I love seeing the source material get adapted because there's so much love put into Sentai when it's being created, and seeing that era of Power Rangers adaptation being slowly washed away over the last few years is kind of hurt. But I get it. I get that it's cheaper technically to not have to have 7,000 writers try to write a plot contrivancy around this particular monster of the week, whereas we can just take 6 or 7 monsters from the season or a few seasons that we bought the rights to and drop them in here and kind of fill the plot around those ones, and then do our own stunts, make our own, suits, that kind of thing, and just take the Zord footage, then that's so much cheaper. So
Yeah, and that
I get it.
yeah, and that's what Simon said about one of the major difficulties is just like writing around certain plot points based on what the footage actually has them working with, which is why I feel like which is why I feel like they put for season two Ollie's mother in Japan, so that if ever it came a point like what we saw, like there's a monster in Japan, we could just teleport them there and just use the footage there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that worked. Or they could have just said, "Oh, this is our town's like little Tokyo." That would also work. But
Yeah.
Things like that work really well, and they've done that in the past. It's the thing, like, in their own right. Anyway, they've done that in the past. Like, I just I'm just torn on that. It's a thing that I know is going to happen, and I just want to see how they pull it off here.
it's like I'm fine either way, but I just want like just the show itself to to just have like that little bit of like tokusatsu like goodness. It's just a random moment that just makes no sense whatsoever just there. As long as it has that, I'm fine. Because if it doesn't have like most of the Super Sentai stuff, Super Sentai is still there. I can still watch it thanks to the internet, which is wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. Like I still have access to that, through Tubi, other sites that we won't name. But kiss but like we still have access to that side of things. It's why I don't get the massive controversy around it where people are attacking Simon about, why aren't you using all of the footage? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? That shit's still there. It's not fucking going anywhere.
Yeah,
That and the thing is, like, even in Mighty Morphin, they didn't use like all the footage. Like, let's be honest, even in season one, they didn't use all the footage because
Right.
it wouldn't make any sense. Like, who
yeah,
are these characters we don't know about in this strange clothing?
yeah.
Exactly.
Why
And
are we in
We didn't even
Japan?
touch Kiba Ranger technically.
no, and much to his credit, Simon Bennett just being on Twitter and just addressing things, even if he gets the same message over and over again, he's still prepared. He's still prepared
That
to.
man has like the worst notes app in history. It's just like it's 10 episodes. We're only adapting Zord footage. We're doing this. It's only like he has these responses like pre-made as many times as that.
Yeah, but much to his credit of being on Twitter and just talking to the fact, like I give him 100% respect for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
most people won't do that. I mean, for some reasons, I would understand why, but yeah, I give them big respect for that at least.
Oh, absolutely. Like there is so there's so much respect for somebody that's able to, in the face of all of the hate and vitriol that's coming your way, be able to sit down and be like, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it. And I absolutely love that. I can only imagine what his DMs look like though.
Probably just bombarded. But yeah, and as well, credit to him as well because when I tweeted about us doing the modcast, like, well, he's done this for everyone, but just the fact that he retweeted and actually likes the tweet as well, that
And then we
that
had like some interaction with the actual cast there liking it and everything because they they seem to be like massive fans of people talking about their show as well. And
yeah,
that's refreshing because you've seen time and time again like how the cycle goes for Power Rangers. You get the role, you love it, then you fall very much out of love of it because of the community, and then you come back for Power Morphicon.
yeah, and then you get people trying to distance themselves from it, but it's impossible. Like it's impossible to distance yourself from it. Like the whatchamacallit, the Yellow Ranger for Dino Thunder, who's very much against people asking them about Dino Thunder or Power Rangers.
And I get that you want to not typecast yourself as a character. I think we've talked about this before. Like people like Daniel Radcliffe, for example, got his dick out on stage with his on-screen uncle, you know, just to kind of distance himself from Harry Potter.
But that just doesn't work. That's like your first major role. That's
Exactly.
going to be fresh in everybody's mind, especially if your audience were like children at the time.
Yep, because
Yeah.
children will latchkey into that moment. Like this was the first show that I really became accustomed to and really grew to be a fan of. I still like to this day, no matter what Johnny Young Bosch is in, he's still fucking Adam to me. You know, he's also
Or Ichigo.
Lelouch. He's also Ichigo. He's also 7,000 other characters. But to me, he will always be Adam. I say as I have my signed Lelouch print like 3 feet from me. But like that was the first role I saw him in, and that's the thing. Like you will never escape that, no matter how hard you try. And I feel so fucking bad for these actors getting typecast into that. But that's the curse of fame.
Yeah, and I've just learned as well, like speaking from an actor's perspective as well. I've just learned to like, hey, just go along with it.
Right? You just roll with it. Like, yeah, I was this character, and this is what I'm currently doing. Have you seen these other things that I'm in that I've been a bigger fan of doing? That was a lesser part of my career to me at this point. That I was 15 when I played that character, and that's a way to approach it, or to just not make public appearances, I guess, and go film your thing and then fuck off. and that's the way a lot of actors are doing things now. They don't want to do the press tour. They don't want to be involved in it. They just want to film and live their life. And I kind of respect that as an introvert, you know?
Yeah, I kind of was like, I kind of understand that more because, like, because you're like before, like social media, there used to be like some form of mystique
Mm-hmm.
to actors in which people, would occasionally like interact with them, but they, when they like had their off time, they like had like some form of peace of mind. It's not like cameras. Like you have like occasionally one or two like big actors, they would have cameras pointed at them like constantly for to get their opinions on stuff. But other times, people just let the actors do whatever they wanted to do, offset and whatnot.
Yeah, the era of TMZ in
Now it's just
particular.
overexposure.
Yeah. I really think the era of TMZ in particular kind of fucked that up for actors, you know, where they would
Yeah,
just ambush them on the fucking street, you know. Tabloids were always a thing, you know, but like that kind of popularized that ambush.
Right, they became more invasive. Like it's like, yeah, they were always a thing, but it's gotten worse.
And I think that's why people like Jonah Hill and so many other big name actors are just like, well, film my thing, go to that red carpet premiere, and not do another piece of press. And I fucking love that for them because they deserve just as much peace of mind as we do. Like, that's the thing. Like, we treat these actors, these screenwriters, these personalities as if they're fucking deities. But
and they're not.
at the end of the day, they are just another human being that will make their own mistakes, live their own life, and learn from their mistakes. They will have their own families. They will do their own. But at the end of the day, they're just another person. And if you can't treat them with the same respect as the random neighbor next door to you, then you don't deserve their time of day. And I
I
think
also
that a
agree with,
lot of these
yeah.
celebrities have kind of gotten into that, like, fuck, I got to deal with 7,000 incels kind of just sitting here drooling over me and telling me to kill myself on social media because I didn't act one for one the screenplay here for them. So why should I bother going to a Comic Con? You know?
Yeah. Um, but also, to go slightly off topic there, I've just found on Twitter like the actual original Sentai footage chart for Dino Fury, and I've posted it in the the
Toku fanboy.
fanboy channel. So like we only had like for both seasons of Dino Fury 13%, only two nearly 3 minutes of Sentai footage.
Okay, let me pull that up on screen real quick because that is
Okay,
just
yeah, little under 3 minutes on average.
let's see, Toku fanboy. So yeah, like ignore my messy Discord, everybody. But yeah, that's fucking crazy, actually. Like, honestly, we're getting less and less Sentai footage being utilized, and that's crazy to think about.
I'm kind of okay with. As I said earlier, it's like they're gonna do their own things with the footage and their rights to the costumes and whatever else they purchase from Toei.
Yeah, which I can understand. I mean, much as you'd love to see Sentai footage be utilized, if that's going to be the case all the time, why not just dub the entire series?
I,
Which is kind of funny because that's exactly what Japan did. They dubbed the entirety of season 1 of Mighty Morphin.
they did, and it's
And
fucking
also, what
hilarious.
I found was like really adorable is when the Mighty Morphin like movie, like the newer one, they had the slogan "Heroes Come Home," which I thought was so precious. For the Mighty Morphin 2000 and was it 17?
Yeah, I was 17.
Yeah, for that their slogan was "Heroes Came Home," which I thought was adorable.
It's they have such a unique relationship, and that's why I think stuff like the Illuminati and all of them, the like grifters of the Toku community in general, like really need to stop with the conspiracy theories of we're ending the relationship with Toei, we're ending the relationship. I don't even remember
Financially, it just wouldn't make any sense. So they wouldn't have access to the suits. They wouldn't have access to the monsters or the Zords.
Access to the merchandising rights.
Right. They wouldn't even have rights to the merchandising of like older seasons, like Mighty Morphin.
That's
because of that.
These like internet. I mean, they're just fucking nerd dirt sheets. That's what they are. Like putting in wrestling terms, they're nerd dirt sheets. They don't understand how shit like that works. Like I saw that article. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then it took me 2 seconds to tear it apart because I'm like, well, then the Lightning Collection's dead. The fucking Zords are dead. The toys are dead. What the fuck would Hasbro exist on? Because arguably, you have Thomas the goddamn Tank Engine, G.I. Joe, you have Transformers, and Power Rangers.
And My Little Pony.
Do they still
have... you also forgot like D&D and whatnot, but yeah.
I thought Wizards owned the sole rights to that.
Wait, I thought Wizard of the Coast was under Hasbro. That's why I said it.
Yeah, Hasbro still has My Little Pony.
Okay, that was my other question. Let me look that up real quick. No, I don't want. Why is that an autocomplete? I'm so glad I do not have that on screen right now. That is quite an autocomplete.
I wish I was the fly on the wall for that.
I do not want to get murdered by the mouse company, so no. Yep, they do own D&D. That took like 3 seconds to Google. No, like there are autocompletes for is Hasbro the owner of Marvel, or is Hasbro the owner of Loki? I'm like, I just picture Mickey Mouse in the corner with a fucking sniper rifle ready to kill me. His just off topic. Have any of you watched Lamplight skits on TikTok?
No,
but I was thinking of like we could have a special episode discussing Wizards of the Coast. Sometimes how they handle race, but that's for another time.
Oh God. Comments on that video.
That's something I probably won't be able to comment anything on.
Or Magic.
If it's not going to be on the podcast, I'm going to make a video on my own about it.
Or Magic the Gathering and classic cards like Jihad.
Oh, this is about more recent stuff.
Oh, I've seen like 2 or 3 articles on like them canceling like entire like race traits and shit for character classes.
Oh no, it's dealing with fictional creatures and comparing people to fictional creatures.
What in the ever-loving fuck?
Prime example, orcs and flying monkeys. So, yeah.
So it's Wizard of Oz in the 2020s, basically.
No, it's more of like trying to be it's like trying to not be offensive, but while you're trying to be not offensive, you are offensive.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh dear God. The gears just turned in the right order. I'm like, oh hell no. Oh fucking Christ. Wizards, what the fuck?
But to stay on topic, but yeah, just basically just don't believe like silly random like rumors. Like So just take it with like a dash of salt
Yeah, and
and
I
just think
love
about it.
I love that Simon actually addressed it. Like they had that particular internet forum had like somebody that was a contact, but they were so low on the pedestal that like their information was 7 scripts out of date, basically.
Yeah.
Like he addressed the whole thing, admitting that like they had a leak, and that person just immediately was no longer with the company as well. Yeah, and that's kind of how you have to handle situations like that. Like if you're leaking plot points and bits and pieces of that, even if they're out of date to that kind of thing, when you've signed an NDA, you cannot say shit. There are games I have had a chance to play that are not even out to public beta test yet that I can't even name because I have signed an NDA. And that's why like during the whole Warner Brothers thing, like I actually like went and talked to a lawyer to say if I could say anything about something that I was testing for them. And I'm trying to say this within the terms of the legal advice I was taken or given here because I don't want to get sued by Warner Brothers. I don't have the money to pay a lawsuit for that. But just even though that project was shuttered, I still technically can't talk about what that was until X date because of that NDA. Which is crazy to think about. Even though it no longer exists, I still technically, legally cannot talk about it. That's how fucking NDA works. I would love to be a fly on the wall for the meeting when that guy got shit canned. Because when you break that, there's a fine, there's potential like damages incurred for any information. There's a
Potential
whole
jail time.
right. But like that's crazy to think about. How I wonder how long he was feeding that borderline dirt sheet information though. That's something that really often crosses my mind having come across that article not once, not twice, but multiple times even during the comics. Like they were using that the fact that the comics were doing so well sales wise that they were just going to start adapting those into this show, to draw up traffic to their website. And that at the end of the day, that is the goal of that kind of a website is to draw traffic to get ad revenue. That is it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why dirt sheets exist because you can talk about anything wrestling related and some sweaty dude in a gaming chair. I'm really calling myself out because I still smell like sweat from work. Is going to sit there and read the dirt sheets and complain in the comment section like this wrestler needs to go because blah, 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 blah. That and that pays their fucking rent, their electricity, their phone bill, everything because it draws that much traffic. But yeah, just to wrap up Dino Fury, I think Luke and I are on the same page here that this has entered our top 5 seasons.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Songetsu. Where would you rank it?
I would have to say yes. This was a well done season, not only of Power Rangers, but a well done season of a tokusatsu in general.
Yeah. So yeah, if I was to rank the seasons that my top 5 seasons, still debating because it's so close. But SPD, Dino Fury, Jungle Fury, Time Force, and RPM.
See, I don't really want to rank my seasons until we go back through like all of the seasons.
That's what I was thinking too. Was like this like both of these seasons of this like been so well that eventually I have to rewatch and reevaluate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
I know I still rank In Space as my number one. It's
Yeah.
it's just so nostalgic for me, and it's such a neat tie on everything, and that's why like that first half of Turbo was so detrimental to the Power Rangers franchise for so long. That In Space was that literally like this could be the final season, so let's send everything out with a bang. Like
And
that
it ended up doing the opposite effect.
exactly. It repopularized it. It made everything meaningful again because it was the end of Zordon and people had to tune in and watch that, and they got fucking insane ratings for the era. Like I believe it was on par with like the peak of the Attitude Era of wrestling. But well, arguably kids were tuning into both of those things. Who the hell are
No, I was.
Yeah, I was flipping between Nitro and Raw at the same time. Like, oh, what? Mankind won the world championship.
I remember back in the day just watching it. My grandma and me and my grandma was like, "This shit is crazy."
They said fuck on national television.
Well, more than that. I was gonna just say in general, it's just a crazy era in wrestling.
Oh god, it was, and arguably they're trying to recapture that now. But they've been chasing that dragon more than a heroin addict. Uh, they're never going to recapture that lightning in the bottle that they
No,
had then.
you can't recapture the past is the past. Like all you got to do is just improve on like what you're gonna do now.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's so strange seeing like, especially in the era of social media, that in particular, because there is no secrecy. Kayfabe is fucking dead, but it's such a unique thing to kind of. I haven't watched a wrestling program in probably 2.5 years at this point, but I just am able to keep up with it just because of social media.
mm.
But like that, it's such a unique thing watching them try to keep kayfabe alive on Twitter. Oh, and it's the same thing for like any actor. Really, is like trying to be in character when they're promoting things if they want to go that route. It's like one step below method acting, though. Like you have the
Yeah,
crazy Jared Leto esque method acting, and then you have kayfabe acting. It's really like I'm this character, but I'm not a total piece of shit. Um, and it's just fun. It's just really fun. But like to tie it all back into Dino Fury and wrap this up, like once we start doing these like by the era, I think we could do like a definitive ranking video of like where we think our top fives are
yeah.
at that point.
I think what we should do is probably like a tier list of the seasons.
That would be perfect, actually. Tier list after the Power Rangers by the era videos, and I think Dino Fury, at least currently, is sitting in A or S tier for me.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
I think
And
it'll depend on how Cosmic Fury does to where because this is a continuation where I rank it.
yeah. But to wrap it up for me, just gotta say, well done to the Dino Fury cast, crew, and everything for just giving us a season that not only reinvigorated my love for the franchise, but also just a generally good show. Good show to pretty much jump into with whilst honoring the passport without having it be the driving force of the season.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like again, I cannot like the Ranger team that we've got is probably, I would say, the best team of Rangers we've had since SPD. I would say.
That's a high praise, too. Like, SPD was one of the strongest Ranger teams.
Yeah. Just for the fact that they all have their own unique characters, unique quirks to them, and they all have a definitive arc that has like a beginning and an end,
Oh, yeah.
and it's not even over yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it could have ended here, and we could have got a whole new team for Cosmic Fury. But because it ended naturally with like the final scene there with them all in the fucking base. You know, Zato's technically dead. They could have well, not dead, but part of the grid. They could have just ended there, but we can have a new beginning, a new middle, a new end in this whole season. We're getting here next year. So I think by the time we're done with all of this, we will be, in time
For Cosmic Fury.
Yeah,
pretty much.
We'll wrap up Beast Morphers and then roll right into Cosmic.
Yeah.
Oh God, may whoever you believe have mercy on our souls, because we're going to need every fucking deity protecting us for some of these moments. But until Mighty Morphin's video, that's peace for this series.
Peace for
and
me.
may the power be with you.